Dear students, today we are doing one of the experiment from the volumetric side, that is determination of percentage of copper in brass. So we are using small brass piece. So in this we are estimating the amount of copper. So brass, actually it is an alloy. It is a homogeneous mixture of two or more metal. So in this brass alloy, so the percentage of copper, it is almost 60 to 90 percentage, and the another one constituent, so which is also present, so that is zinc. So it almost 20 to 30%, and remaining somewhat the trace elements, so which may present like tin, lead, iron, in a very small percentage. Uh, First, we need to dissolve this brass piece. So now I am taking this brass piece into a large beaker and adding a small quantity of HNO3, 1:1 HNO3. Take a small quantity. So gradually that brass piece is get dissolved. Suppose if the dissolution so which stops, then add a few more drops of 1:1 HNO3. So you can also observe that the brown color fumes so that comes out, these are nothing but the oxides of nitrogen. Okay, so it is due to the addition of HNO3, and you can observe the brown colored gases, so those are nothing but oxides of nitrogen, so which are escaping now. But still some of the oxides of nitrogen, so they may get dissolved or they may get present in this liquid medium. So it will take time because the brass piece what we are taken, so I think it is large size, the weight of brass piece is more. Now it is completely get dissolved. So after complete dissolution of brass piece, okay, so then only we need to add certain amount of urea. Okay, so here two spatula of urea I am using. To destroy some of the other oxides of nitrogen, so which are present still in this medium, this liquid medium, for destroying purpose, destroy of oxides of nitrogen. For that purpose we are adding two spatula full of urea, and you can see so that turns into precipitate form. It almost turns into precipitate form. Okay, and now I'm adding some small quantity of water to dissolve that precipitate, to dissolve the excess amount of urea also. So this is the brass solution, but this brass solution is still in a acidic medium because of the mineral acid what we are added, and now I am using some small quantity of sodium carbonate to neutralize this solution, adding pinch by pinch, so that you can observe the effervescence, so which are gradually comes out because of what the acid base reaction. Add the sodium carbonate very slowly. Slowly until all the effervescence which completely stops. Okay, we need to add sodium carbonate to this brass solution until all the effervescence which completely stop. You add a little more, and if you feel still the effervescence are there, so that will be comes out, and now the solution which is completely neutralized, and now adding some more water to this beaker. And if excess of sodium carbonate is get added, and due to that it may form somewhat the bluish white precipitate. Okay, in order to remove the excess of sodium carbonate, as well as in order to maintain some slight acidic medium, so here we are using the one of the weak acid, that is acetic acid, and I'm adding a very small quantity of this acetic acid, and now so you can observe that precipitate which is get clear, and you can see gradually the precipitate is clearing and obtaining a clean bluish color solution. So that will remove the excess amount of the sodium carbonate and also maintains a slight acidic medium. Okay, now you can see a clear solution, clear bluish color solution. Now I am transferring this entire solution into one of the standard flask. So its capacity is 250 ml. So I am transferring the entire solution to this standard flask by using the funnel. Wash this beaker 2 to 3 times with distilled water, and collect all the particles which is still in the beaker into your standard flask. Now there was some mark in this standard flask, so here it is. So up to this we need to add the water, distilled water. So up to that mark only, so we need to add the distilled water. So don't cross this level, otherwise the solution becomes dilute. So now close this standard flask and shake the solution thoroughly. So this seems to be a clear solution, and this is the brass solution. And using this brass solution, so we have to estimate the amount of cupric ion so which are present in this brass solution. Now I am pipetting 25 ml of this brass solution into the conical flask. So I have already pipetted 25 ml of brass solution into this conical flask, and to this now I am adding potassium iodide solution, about 10 ml of potassium iodide solution. So you have to take in the small measuring jar and add exactly 10 ml of this potassium iodide solution. And you can now see the color of this solution, so that it is a dark yellow color. Okay. So in the burette, now I am taking the sodium thiosulfate solution. Now the initial value is 0. I am titrating this brass solution until the color of this solution, so which turns into pale yellow. And at this moment, so you have to add the sodium thiosulfate solution quickly into the conical flask, and once you obtain the pale yellow color, then you have to add a starch indicator. So now you can see, so this is the pale yellow color, light yellow color, and now I am adding a starch. It is an indicator. Adding drop by drop. So you will be observing that it is a darkish color or some dark blue color, and now I am continuing the titration slowly by the addition of sodium thiosulfate. Okay. We have to add in a dropwise manner, because the end point is very nearer. So you can see the end point is coming. endpoint is recognizing by the change in color from blue to colorless. Okay, so this is the colorless, blue to colorless, and allow this conical flask just for a few seconds. So if the blue color is imparting once again, so then add 1 or 2 drops of sodium thiosulfate into the same conical flask, and there, so you can uh, also knowing the end point of the titration. Okay, so the blue color is not appeared, and this is the end point of the titration. Now you can see the titer value. Initially it was 0, the initial value is 0. Now the end point, so which came at 5.6. Okay, so 5.6 is the final value. So in the observation, so I will take this value. So initial is 0, so final is 5.6, and difference it is 5.6 for the first trial. And similarly, we have to do the second one trial by taking a fresh brass solution into the same conical flask. So here already we have pipetted 25 ml of brass solution, and to this I am adding 10 ml of potassium iodide, and now you can observe the same kind of color, that is dark yellow, and here the initial level, it is a 5.6, we are considering as a 5.6. I am not altering, so the last titer value, so it becomes a initial titer value for this trial, and now I am doing the immediate titration until it becomes pale yellow. Yes, now we can see the pale yellow color is obtained, and to this I am adding the starch indicator. So you can see once again somewhat bluish color, so which is obtained. Now we have to add dropwise addition, and look at the end point. So we got the end point here, color changes from blue to colorless. Okay, so this is observed for the second trial, and here in the burette, so we can now see the end point. So that is 11.3 is the end point for the second trial. So 11.3. Initial is 5.6 and final is 11.3. So it becomes 7 and 5. Okay, so you can see in my trial, first one we observed 5.6, and in the second one we observed 5.7. Okay, only 0.1. Okay, only 0.1. So the error or the difference for the first one and the second one trial. In a similar way, so we have to carry the third one trial. So after doing the third trial, so we got the end point for 17 ml as a final, and the difference what obtained it is 5.7. So almost the 100% accuracy we maintained between the trials, and these are the final differences of 3 trials, and the mean, so which almost 5 point I think 7.65 it becomes 5.6 plus 5.7 plus 5.7 dividing by 3, so it becomes a 5.67. Okay, so weight of brass piece
0.310.
0.310 gram, so which is taken, and here there is a calculation. Suppose if you are taken 1000 ml of 1 normal sodium thiosulfate solution, so in that, so 63.54 gram of copper. Okay, and suppose if 1 ml of 1 normal sodium thiosulfate solution you are considering, so here we are dividing 63.54 by 1000, and that becomes 0.06354 gram of copper. And in the further calculation, so here we were used 1 ml of 0.05 normal of sodium thiosulfate for our titration purpose, and hence here 0.06354 is multiplied by 0.05 that normality, and V ml of 0.05 normal sodium thiosulfate solution that will be multiplying to the above step, that is 0.06354 into 0.05 is the normality of sodium thiosulfate into the V value, that is the mean V value 5.67. Okay, and now suppose if 25 ml of brass solution contains 0.06354 into 0.05 into V gram of copper, and 250 ml of brass solution, so if that contains then what is the calculation? So that will be again just modified 0.06354 into 0.05 into V into 10. Okay, 10 gram of copper, so it is multiplied by 10. Okay, so 25 into 10, it becomes a 250 here. So finally the weight of brass piece contains 0.06354 into 0.05 into capital V into 10 divided by W. W is the weight of brass piece. So after all substituting the mean value, that is 0.06354 into 0.05 into 5.67 into 10 into 100. For the conversion or for the percentage of conversion, so here we are multiplied by 100, and after all doing the multiplication in the numerator and dividing by their weight W, so W here it is 0.31. We will get 0.6354 into 0.05 into 5.67 into 10 into 100 by 0.31. So 58%, 58.1% of copper, so that is present in the brass. So in this way we are doing the experiment. Thank you.